Deep in the wilderness lay Lucia Lake, one of nature's most timeless creations, a breathtaking stretch of water surrounded by dense cypress groves. No humans lived there anymore. The serene beauty of the lake had long been forgotten, turning it into a desolate yet hauntingly peaceful place. That isolation, however, became the perfect refuge for a group of drug traffickers. They used the area to produce and sell narcotics illegally, earning huge profits. Everything was going smoothly, until one day the police unexpectedly raided their base. Most of them were caught and arrested, but before being captured, one of the traffickers poured a highly toxic chemical into the waters of Lucia Lake. Gradually, the poison spread through the lake, contaminating everything. Lucia had once been home to thousands of crocodiles, but exposure to the chemical began to mutate them. Their size and aggression grew abnormally. Soon, they turned into colossal, monstrous beasts, far more vicious and bloodthirsty than normal crocodiles. Scene shift. The story cuts to a biology class in a college. A senior professor was lecturing about wildlife behavior. During class, she noticed a student named Kyle distractedly using his phone. When she questioned him, Kyle failed to answer properly. After class, Kyle met his friend Alice. She and their friends, Sam and Malika, were planning a short trip. Kyle had no idea about it. In truth, Kyle was still grieving the loss of his brother, who had died only a few months earlier. Alice hoped that the trip would help him smile again. That night, the group checked into a hotel. Everyone tried to have fun except Kyle, who couldn't stop thinking about his brother. When Alice tried to comfort him, he quietly said, "I can never forget him. I loved him too much." Then he left the room. Alone, Kyle sat outside scrolling through old photos and videos of his brother, tears streaming down his face. The next morning, they left the hotel and stopped at a gas station. While filling the tank, Kyle noticed a newspaper headline: "Crocodile attacks kill 54. Locals warn tourists to stay away." Nearby, an old man kept muttering, warning people not to go near the lake with the giant crocodiles. Kyle realized he was talking about Lucia Lake. When Malika called him, he set the paper aside and left. Kyle apologized to everyone for being overly emotional the night before. They soon arrived at a small private airport, a plan arranged secretly by Malika to shorten the journey. There they met their pilot, Frank, a rugged middle-aged man. His first encounter with Sam wasn't pleasant. The two clashed over trivial issues. Still, Frank reassured them that their flight to Florida would be smooth and scenic. The flight disaster. Once in the air, everyone admired the mesmerizing clouds and the sparkling blue below. But one passenger kept talking loudly on his phone, irritating everyone. Kyle politely asked him to stop, but the man ignored him. Sam and the others backed Kyle up, and soon another frustrated passenger snatched the man's phone. In the commotion, the man stumbled and hit the plane's side. Suddenly, alarms blared. Both engines failed one after another. Frank and his co-pilot fought to control the aircraft, but it was too late. With no other choice, Frank brought the plane down, crash landing into a body of water. Everyone was badly injured, but most survived. Kyle dragged himself out of the water and realized the man with the phone hadn't made it. When Kyle asked Frank about a working radio or phone, Frank admitted everything was soaked and useless. His co-pilot was missing. Frank waded into the lake, shouting his name, but there was no response. Kyle knew the truth. They were stranded in an uncharted area, and nobody knew where they were. Waiting for rescue would be pointless. Frank agreed, suggesting they walk north to find an airfield his friend once mentioned. The monsters awaken. As they gathered supplies, Alice wandered off and discovered several crocodile eggs. Knowing they could be valuable, she secretly took a few. Moments later, they spotted the co-pilot's lifeless body floating in the water. As Kyle and Frank tried to retrieve it, a massive, deformed crocodile surged up and devoured him in a single bite. The group fled in horror, barely escaping with their lives. By evening, exhausted and terrified, they stopped deep inside the forest, far from the lake. Crocodile attacks seemed less likely there. Because Kyle had some knowledge of wildlife behavior, everyone agreed to make him their leader, except Malika, who opposed the decision. Ignoring her, they lit a campfire. Frank tried to lighten the mood by offering everyone drinks. Kyle refused. They eventually lay down to rest, but in the middle of the night, the same businessman from the plane got up to fetch water. A crocodile suddenly lunged from the shadows and tore him apart. In the morning, the group found his mutilated body. Kyle, disturbed, asked Frank why these crocodiles were so aggressive. Frank explained, "Normally, crocodiles avoid humans. But these, they attack not for food, only to kill. Locals, he said, had started calling them Christinas. The cottage of death. Alice spotted a cottage in the distance. Frank and Kyle agreed it might offer temporary safety and a chance to plan their next move. As they approached, Kyle warned everyone to step carefully. Dozens of crocodiles were hiding nearby. Frank knew that running would only provoke them, so he and Kyle devised a strategy to move in groups. Before they could act, one crocodile attacked and dragged a passenger away. More followed, chasing the rest. They barely made it to safety, though Joy was bitten in the leg. Kyle treated her wound and instructed everyone to stay awake through the night for guard duty. At dawn, Sam woke Kyle to show him a map he had found inside an old drawer. It marked their crash site and a mysterious building 3 miles away near a river, something even Frank didn't know existed. The building could have supplies, maybe even a radio. Though Malika disagreed, the others voted to take the risk. Crossing the river, they began their trek. When Julie suddenly fell sick, they rested before moving on. Upon reaching the river, they saw it was too wide to cross by swimming, so they decided to build a raft before sunset, because once darkness fell, the crocodiles would rise again. While working, one of the creatures attacked Alice. She fought back fiercely and barely survived. When the raft was ready, they set sail, but soon, monstrous crocodiles surrounded them again. To save her friends, Julie sacrificed herself, throwing her body into the water to distract the beasts. She died a brutal death, but her selflessness saved the others. The final battle. At last, the survivors reached the old building, once used by drug traffickers. Inside, they found a young man barely alive, covered in blood. Before dying, he warned them to, quote, "leave this place immediately." Malika suggested splitting into 2 teams to search for communication devices. She, Frank, and Alice took one side. The rest searched elsewhere. Soon, Frank and Malika got into a violent argument. Frank accused her of selfishness, and in a fit of rage, he pushed her off the upper floor. Malika's scream drew Kyle, who managed to save her just in time. Together, they found a room with an old radio, their only chance of escape. The problem was, dozens of crocodiles were sleeping between them and the radio. They crept through quietly, but Sam was caught and devoured. Kyle reached the radio, but the power cord shorted out. They had to retreat again. As chaos erupted, Alice pulled out the eggs she had stolen earlier. She thought returning them might calm the beasts, but one crocodile lunged, biting off her hand. Kyle opened fire, but bullets barely harmed the creature. Desperate, he set the entire room ablaze, finally killing the monstrous reptile. When the fire died down, only Malika, Alice, Kyle, and Lehan remained alive. They stumbled out of the building and found a bridge nearby. A rescue helicopter appeared in the sky. They were finally saved. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can catch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.